500 million years ago. The microcontinent was situated near the equator. The Western scientists called it Kazakhstania. The structure with almost full list of elements from the Mendeleev table inside its depth. What secrets does Kazakhstan soil have? How rich is it? Natural resources are the history of our land for thousands of years. By bearing the light, it appears to be an important element for all living beings on Earth. No, it's not the Sun. It's much closer than the celestial body. It's all around us, as well as inside us. Phosphorus is one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust. In nature, it does not occur in the free state. At the same time, it is found in about 200 minerals. In its pure form, this chemical element was discovered in 1669 by the German alchemist Henning Brandt, who, like the other chemists of the time, tried to create the philosopher's stone. But the miracle did not happen, and instead of an elixir enabling to extend life and turn any substance into gold, Brandt produced a white material that glowed in the dark. He called the new element phosphorus, which means bearer of light. However, this discovery made the alchemist rich. Brandt has made good money by showing his discovery to rich people. Phosphorus is found in all plants. It is contained in animal tissues, proteins, and other important organic compounds. The skeleton of vertebrates contains almost 60% of calcium phosphate, and the body of an adult averages up to 1.5 kilograms of this element. At the same time, most of it is contained in bones, 130 grams in muscles and 12 grams in nerves and brain. In our bones, phosphorus is mainly present as calcium phosphate, while tooth enamel corresponds to the natural mineral called apatite by its composition and crystal structure. As you can see, phosphorus is the most important biogenic element. Moreover, it is widely used in different industries. Anyone who held a box of matches, used toothpaste or drank soda at least once knows what phosphorus is. It is an essential element for metallurgy to alloy cast iron and steel, and for chemical industry to impregnate fabrics, plastic and wood, which makes them refractory. Drilling fluids, food products and medicines are also made of it. Phosphorus is also called a fertility stone. Owing to it, today agrarians get rich harvests and farmers get useful livestock products. Phosphorites were formed hundreds of millions of years ago from remains of the Precambrian marine organisms. They dwelt in the base or on the bottom of shallow seas. As a result of the vital activity of bacteria, the skeletal fauna was transformed into phosphorus strata. This sedimentary rock is found among sediments of the most ancient oceans, containing remains of the underwater fauna, ammonite shells, belemnites and trilobites. On the territory of Kazakhstan, The large phosphorite beds occur in the mountains of Karatau.
В этом камне содержатся фосфориты. Примерно содержание.
The stone contains about 25 to 30% of phosphorites.
Тут имеется много.
There are many other elements too.
Тут имеется и железо.
They are iron, manganese, radioactive and rare earth elements.
Редкие метальные элементы.
3.5 billion years ago, most part of the young planet was occupied by water bodies. The territory of the present mountains of Karatau was also covered by a paleo-ocean. The Karatau phosphorite-bearing basin is one of the largest in the world. It is located on the territory of Zhambyl and South Kazakhstan regions. Its width is almost 30 kilometers, and the length is over 120 kilometers. The layers of phosphate rock are exposed close to the surface, which allows to develop them through open-pit method. Latest explored reserves of the basin make up over 1 billion tons of useful component P2O5, which is an active substance in all types of fertilizers and materials containing phosphate. Forecast resources of the Karatau basin are estimated at 12 to 13 billion tons of ore. Thanks to this deposit today, Kazakhstan is among top 10 countries with the largest reserves of phosphorites. The mineral fertilizers plant in Taras is one of the giants of the country's chemical industry. Fertilizers and defluorinated feed phosphates, as well as sulfuric acid, are produced in this plant, located on the area of almost 500 hectares. The history of the enterprise dates back to the middle of the last century. During the post-war years, namely in 1947, the construction of this industrial giant began. Initially it was called Zhambyl's superphosphate plant, because its main product was a chemical fertilizer. Called superphosphate. In the early 50s, the factory launched a workshop to produce its own sulfuric acid. This is one of the most important components in the production of phosphorus fertilizers. In modern Kazakhstan, the enterprise has received its present name, which is Taras Mineral Fertilizers Plant. Today it produces amorphous, a granulated and water-soluble mineral fertilizer. Recently, thanks to the new workshop, the production of sulfuric acid has also increased here. Just imagine, it is 600,000 tons per year. According to the specialists of the plant, thanks to this, it became possible to increase the production of mineral fertilizers up to 450,000 tons per year. The sulfuric acid workshop is equipped with the latest technologies. The amount of investments to its construction totaled 15 million tenge. Near 140 people work full-time here.
Основной деятельностью нашего завода является выпуск минеральных удобрений, кормовых добавок и
The main activity of our plant is the production of mineral fertilizers, feed additives and sulfuric acid. The main raw materials are phosphates that we receive from our branch unit of Karatau mining processing complex, located in the city of Zhanatas. We produce sulfuric acid for our own needs. We can even implement surplus. And for the feed additives department, the same raw materials are obtained from the city of Zhanatas. We receive ammonia from the city of Aktau. This is also a Kazakhstani manufacturer. To produce sulfuric acid, we obtain granulated sulfur from western Kazakhstan. In December of last year, we launched the Department of Phosphoric Acid Extraction after the reconstruction. It allows to produce 220,000 of P2O5 per year, with increasing of output of mineral fertilizers. This year we are planning to produce 250,000 of finished mineral fertilizers, including 46% of phosphorus and 10% of nitrogen. The plant employees call this sector of sulfuric acid production as the heart of the whole enterprise. It is difficult to imagine any modern production without this chemical raw material. It is used in the processing of ores, especially when mining rare elements such as uranium, iridium, zirconium, osmium. Sulfuric acid is an important component for oil, metal, textile, leather and even food industries. But most likely, the largest consumer of this substance are producers of phosphate fertilizers. We are currently in the warehouse of block sulfur. Raw materials are transported right here. They are brought on high-sided wagons and then unloaded and stored. The raw material used in our workshop is granulated sulfur, which is a byproduct of oil refining. Fabrication of sulfuric acid is a complicated process. Here everything is automated and runs through a closed-loop process. And the whole process is supervised by several operators. They are responsible for the safety and smooth operation of the huge workshop. And these are the panels to control valves, pumps, and start of the equipment. The main access menu shows all units of sulfur processing, and any discrepancies in the parameters and temperature are immediately reported directly to the workshop over radios, as sulfuric acid is an explosive solution.
Например, вот у нас начинается как выгрузка серы, там есть...
Sulfur is unloaded to the warehouse. It goes to the melting department on the conveyor belt, and then it goes to the filtration department.
Там фильтруется, потом...
After filtration, the product is passed to the furnace's blower compartment.
После этого...
There, sulfur is burnt and process gas is produced, which is then sent to the contact section and from there to the absorber section. And this is the very section where acid is produced. From there, the product is sent to the warehouse. Sulfuric acid production is a unique process, as a huge amount of heat is produced during it. Byproduct is steam that enters the power unit, where the turbine processes everything into electricity. 25 megawatts per hour are enough for the operation of the whole factory. Chemists determine the composition of received raw materials in laboratory. They send data to departments where technologists carefully study the ore composition.
В одном грамме этого фосфория мы находим процентное соотношение всех этих компонентов.
In 1 gram of this phosphorus raw material, we define proportion of such components as calcium, magnesium, iron and aluminium.
И мы подтверждаем...
Raw materials come with a certificate of quality, and we confirm the data stated in the certificate. If there is any discrepancy, we refuse to accept raw material and send it back to Karatau. The task of sulfuric acid is the extraction of the main ingredient from the ore for the future fertilizer, that is phosphorus. Thus, phosphorite is placed to giant barrels, where acid is added. Everything is then mixed up. Then the substrate enters a vacuum filter. The principle of how this set operates resembles a huge carousel with a sieve which helps to separate liquid with solid components. Sulfuric acid corrodes the rock and flushes out all the phosphorus, thus turning into a phosphoric acid extract. The final step is to neutralize phosphoric acid by using ammonia. Granules received as a result are simultaneously coagulated and dried in a large drum under mild temperature regime, and then mineral fertilizer is classified on the screening machine and shipped to consumers. This is Amaphos, a nitrogen-phosphorus fertilizer, which is used in agricultural industry. It is used to saturate the roots of plants with nitrogen and nutrients. Amaphos is produced in the form of granules, from 1 to 4 millimeters in diameter, because the granules slowly dissolve in water solutions and strengthen the roots of plants. The final consumer of Amaphos is the agricultural sector. This is a unique mineral fertilizer containing 12% of ammonia and more than 50% of phosphorus. It has already proved itself to serve good in the arid regions of Kazakhstan. The agrochemical is an excellent fertilizer for all types of crops cultivated in Kazakhstan. After all, phosphorus, as well as nitrogen and potassium, is an important element for ensuring growth and vital activity of plants.
Во всех регионах Казахстана почвы объединены элементом питания и гумусом.
The soils of all regions of Kazakhstan are poor with nutrients and humus.
Фосфора,
It means that there is degradation of soil fertility. The content of mobile phosphorus in agricultural non-irrigated soils is up to 40%, while in irrigated soils it is less than 20%. These cultivated lands are poor with nutrients. It is important to mention here the decrease in fertility of soil depends on reduction of introducing various mineral, nitric, phosphoric and potash fertilizers. The low soil fertility leads to slow growth and development of plants, their delayed maturity, as well as poor crops and quality of the products. Therefore, Amaphos is referred to as the best phosphorus fertilizers, which can be used in any period of vegetation, regardless of the type of soil.
Фосфорные удобрения увеличивают засухоустойчивость всех сельскохозяйственных культур.
Phosphate fertilizers increase the drought tolerance of all crops, primarily cereals.
Уменьшается наша
Maturity is reduced by 6 to 8 days. In addition, phosphorus affects the quality indicators, increases the content of starch in potatoes and other crops.
и других культурах.
Agriculture is an important sector of the country's economy. At the same time, Kazakhstan has vast areas for agricultural activities. In terms of grain production, the Republic ranks third in the CIS, after Russia and Ukraine. The annual demand of agriculture for phosphorus pentoxide only of Kazakhstan is about 1.5 million tons. Fodder mineral supplements for feeding animals and birds are also very important for agriculture. Taras plant of mineral fertilizers produces two types of mineral additives: tricalcium phosphate and calcium sodium phosphate. Fine-grained fluorapatites from Karatau deposit are also used. To obtain the final product, it is necessary to remove fluorine from raw material. To do this, phosphoric powder is placed in a floating cyclone in which natural gas is burnt. Phosphate raw materials are thrown by the flow to the walls of the cyclone, from which it flows into the melt chamber. Here the products are separated from the gases containing fluorine.
При плавке удаляется стор и получается продукт, состоящий из фосфора P2O5.
During melting process, fluorine is removed, and we get a product consisting of 27% of phosphorus P2O5 and 30% of calcium. Then this product enters a water jet where the alloy is cooled and granulated. Then it enters the pool, where the final granulation takes place.
Затем вытаскивается кран.
Then it is pulled out by a crane and added to the dehydration pad. Then, this granulated semi-finished product gets to a drying drum. From the drying drum, it is fed to a mill, where the granules are crushed into a powder, which makes it easy for animals to digest.
Порошок, который легче усваивается животными.
The estimated production capacity of the Department of Mineral Feed Additives is 74,000 tons of tricalcium phosphate per year.
Конечная продукция, кормовые добавки для животноводства и
Final products are fodder additives for livestock and poultry. This product consists of phosphorus and calcium. Phosphorus gives a physiological increase in weight, and calcium is needed for the formation of the skeleton, and it is used in poultry farming to form eggs.
формирование яйца.
Yes, indeed, one of the largest consumers of feed phosphates are poultry farms. After all, this element cannot be replaced in the diet of birds.
Фосфорные добавки, в которых включается фосфор сам, он является...
Phosphoric additives are the second element in the list of all elements that need to be added to the feeds after the salt.
Вот соли.
Phosphorus is involved in the metabolism of the whole body.
В веществах почти всего
Phosphorus takes part in every process, in every cell that we have in our body.
везде участвует фосфор.
In such a difficult business as growing birds in captivity, phosphorus makes true miracles. It increases egg production of hens and broilers, gain the required body weight in short time. It increases egg production of hens and broilers' ability to gain required body weight in short time. If this mineral is not enough, the process of calcium absorption is interrupted, and this already leads to rickets. For example, in order to feed 30,000 birds a day, 6 tons of mixed fodder are needed, which contains 70 kilograms of tricalcium phosphate. These are over 25 tons of magic additive per year.
Без него просто невозможно выращивать птицу, и мы его добавляем именно в кормовые добавки для птицы.
It is impossible to grow a bird without it. We add it to the fodder additives for birds. It is necessary. It is the most important thing for bones. It is the calcium-phosphorus exchange that occurs in the body and affects the bone to make bird walk. The growth of a bird is impossible without phosphorus. If it's not enough, the bone becomes loose, and the bird cannot simply stand up and go to eat. Therefore, it is phosphorus that participates in these metabolic processes, and its shortage greatly affects the consumption of feed. A bird can immediately refuse from the food, and in this case, the body simply stops to grow. Phosphorus ensures the correct functioning and vital activity of any living organism. This chemical element preserves the integrity of DNA molecules carrying genetic information. It also participates in the transmission of the nerve impulse, and it is responsible for thinking, coordination of movements, and muscle contraction. Even breathing organs need phosphoric acid.
Важнейшая роль фосфора заключается в том, что он является основой существования так называемых высокоэнергетических молекул.
The most important part of phosphorus is that it is the basis for the existence of so-called high-energy molecules. Molecules without which there is no movement, no motions, no life activities. Without these highly energetic molecules, we would not be able to move, speak, love or hate, because any movement, any change in the state of the nerve cells is associated with energy. And energy is the result of the destruction or creation of so-called adenosine triphosphate acid molecules. The daily human need for phosphorus is 1 or 2 grams. With large physical loads, those figures increase by 1.5 to 2 times.
Поэтому роль вот этих фосфорных соединений настолько велика, что нехватка фосфора, конечно, скажется.
Therefore, the role of these phosphorus compounds is so great that the lack of phosphorus will certainly have impact on well-being.
Мы получаем вместе с зеленой.
And inorganic phosphorus is the only source of phosphorus in the body. We get it from green plants and animals, which have accumulated these phosphorus compounds by taking them from the soil and accumulating them into their bodies.
Из почвы включили в свой состав, передали животным, а мы в свою очередь получили их.
Phosphorus is a unique element. It is the most important mineral biogen. Scientists are still arguing about its origin. According to the classical version, phosphorites were formed due to living organisms that had existed hundreds of millions of years ago. Meanwhile, some scientists believe that it was phosphorus that triggered the evolutionary leap of the organic life of the planet. It turns out that this element existed in the Paleocean even before the birth of the first forms of life. It is phosphorus that has become a nutrient for cyanobacteria. the very oldest algae that produced oxygen for the first time. Oxygen that is the basis of all living beings on Earth.